Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter. If it's bad news, you can take it up with the Colonel. If it's good news, it better involve some dead fiends. Damn right I am, and I'm paying bounties. I've got 3 fiends I want dead, and I don't give a goddamn how it gets done. That sound like something that interests you? First one calls herself Violet. God knows why. The name is the prettiest thing about her. Spends most of her time with a pack of vicious dogs. Then there's Driver Nephi. He's fast and he's brutal. Killed about a dozen of my men with a goddamn driver iron. Hence his name. And finally, Cook. Rapist, pyromaniac, and damn good chef if you believe the fiends we've captured. Probably the craziest of the lot. I'm not gonna feed you any bullshit. These aren't your common Vegas trash. They've all killed good NCR men, and plenty of mercs too. You go after them, any of them, you're in for a hell of a fight. So, which one is it gonna be? Violet it is. Wish I could give you more advice on how to bring her down, but we know less about her than the other 2. Just watch out for the dogs. She raises them herself. Might as well be their mother, and never leave her side. Good question. Fiend territory is southeast of here, but they range all over the area. None of them stays in any one place for long. One more thing. If you want the full reward, you need to bring me a recognizable head. My superiors need proof they're gone. That means no headshots, no decapitations till after they're dead, and no damage to the face. If you want to be safe, aim for the chest. You bring me a head that looks like a rotten tomato, people will be doubting, and I won't be authorized to pay the entire bounty. Good luck to you, and don't get careless. Violet's got dogs. Lots of dogs. While they're ripping you to shreds up close, she'll be putting rounds through you with a rifle. Pack of drugged-out killers. They're addicted to every stim, every pill, every psychoactive enema on this fucked up earth. Right. I'm Lieutenant Gorobets, 1st Recon. If you're looking to collect a bounty, you should talk to Major Daughtry. We're the finest sniper outfit in the whole NCR. If you need a bullet put into a target's eye from 800 yards away, you call us. Some of my team aren't without their share of scars, though, like Betsy and Sterling. We're the finest sniper outfit in the whole NCR. If you need a bullet put into a target's eye from 800 yards away, you call us. Corporal Sterling was an NCR Ranger until he was captured by the Legion. They tortured him pretty badly. He wasn't able to be a Ranger after that, but his eyes are still sharp, so I had him transferred to 1st Recon. Cook, one of the fiends, ambushed her and 10 of spades. They both managed to escape, but not before Cook raped her. Betsy shrugged it off like it was nothing, but her behavior keeps getting worse. Always making passes at every woman who wanders by. It's inappropriate for anyone at 1st Recon to behave that way. I could discipline her, but I'd rather she get medical help. I'd appreciate it. As her CO, I could order her to get help, but I'd have her agree with the idea. If they've proven hard to kill, yes. Whatever it takes to get the job done, even if it means hiring help from outside the military. Carry on.
Hello?
Hey.
Never seen you around before. What do you want? Yeah, right. You're sniffing up the wrong skirt. Try me again when you're tall, blonde, and female. What gave me away? The big gun, the shades, or the attitude? They don't. Only the good ones do. My partner's got some potential, so I let him wear those goofy glasses. I tell him they're his training shades. He totally buys it. Truth is, his eyes just suck. The little guy. 10 of spades. I like him because he listens. Doesn't shut up the rest of the time, but when I talk, he listens. Also, he doesn't pull any stupid come-ons, like practically every other horn dog alpha male on this base. Might be he's just scared of me, though. Yeah, we spot for each other, watch each other's backs. Usually works pretty well, unless you get paired up with an asshole. Thing is, there's a lot of assholes in the Army. I keep hoping they'll pair me up with some hot blonde like you see on those old pinups. Shit, I don't even care if she can shoot straight. Can't have everything. Not unless you count the fiends as serious. Gorobets keeps us inside the fence most of the time. Doesn't matter to me. I just shoot bad guys. Sooner or later, they'll move us out to the dam, though. That's when the shit gets nasty. Legion fights to win, and they're smart. Hell of a lot smarter than these crazy fiends. But I don't feel bad about shooting Legion boys. Fiends, on the other hand, sometimes I get pangs of conscience. Not often, but sometimes. Some cute little junkie bitch, so fucked up she doesn't even know that she's the bad guy. And I've got a headshot her. Makes me think. Might just be sex, though. I see some cute little number and I'd rather get in her pants. So maybe I'm a stone-cold bitch after all. Yeah, try not to get killed.
We won't go quietly. The Legion can count on that. Hey, my man! 10 of spades. First Recon sharpshooter. At your service. Oh yeah, fine. Just a little stutter. Had it since I was a kid. doesn't stop me from kicking ass. Damn right. The LT, Gorobets gave it to me. See, I wanted to be ace of spades, but the LT says, sorry kid, you're too green. So he calls me 10 instead. It's okay though. I get a few more kills under my belt, he'll move me up to Jack. Jack of spades. Sounds better, right? I keep at it. Eventually I'll make it to ace. Think I'll skip queen though. Shit, long as I can remember, had a rifle in my hand since I was 3. That's what my dad always says. Learned to shoot on our ranch, way west of here. Same as the LT. He's a farm kid too. Oh, they recruited me, what, a year ago? Taught me to kick even more ass than before. These guys, they really know how to kick some ass. Kicking ass. Mostly kicking ass. See, we're watching the perimeter right now, looking for those fiends to come back. When they show their faces, that's when we go to work. One shot, one kill. That's the first Recon way. The LT told you about that? Shit, man. That's shit. It was my fault. See, I was knocked out when it happened. That big guy sneaked up on us. I let Betsy down. Shit, you sound like the LT. I should have woken up. I shouldn't have gotten knocked out in the first place. That shit was my fault. I don't want to talk about it anymore, all right? She's my goddamn partner. See, we work in pairs. We spot for each other, watch each other's backs. Nobody wanted to work with me. They said I was too green, but Betsy volunteered. Shit, you don't even know how big a deal that is. She trusts her life to the newbie, and I sit here and let her get raped by that piece of shit. Yeah, the LT shouldn't have brought that shit up. Not with civvies, anyway. Ain't right. This again? Ain't right talking about this anyway. Yeah, I'll see you around.
Hello?
Howdy. Name's Sterling, First Recon. Can't say I've seen you before. I'd remember if I had. Got a good memory for faces, landmarks and such too. Comes with practice, that's all, and a lot of scouting from place to place. I called her the Long Carabine. Didn't always have the scope. I added that myself. Been shooting with her so long, couldn't bring myself to toss her away. Would have felt guilty to part with the old girl. The other snipers used bolt action, but Gorobets reckoned it didn't matter none if I was different, so long as I could hit my targets. Used to be a ranger, one of the first they sent out east back before we took the dam. Observation and reconnaissance. We took the lay of the land, checked out the locals, and kept ourselves inconspicuous. A couple friends of mine were the first to scout the dam. That was back in '73, if I recall. A lot of those rangers are dead now. Vegas always chewed men up. It's just a little more literal nowadays. Well, that wasn't really a matter of choice. Got myself caught by legionaries up near Malpay. They had themselves some fun with me. Mangled my hands and feet pretty good. Wasn't much good with the pistol after that. Wasn't gonna be trekking across the waste on any more long scouts either. Caesar's boys figured I wasn't going anywhere after what they'd done to me, so they didn't bother tying me up. I crawled out of there on my elbows and knees. Must have looked a sight. Then I rolled down an embankment into the Colorado. I guess I had a mind to drown rather than give Caesar's boys the satisfaction of killing me. But a couple of rangers happened to be watching from across the river. They jumped on in and pulled me out of there. Lucky break, they said. Going on 6 months now, but I reckon we'll be moving out soon enough. Can't talk about the details. Till then, we'll man the towers and keep an eye on the fiends. We've had more than our share of trouble from their direction. Whole thing smells of Caesar to me. Of course, that's just guesswork. But I'd still bet a few caps he's stirring up the locals against us. Always a pleasure. Keep yourself safe.
I'm Bitter Root, first Recon. You got a reason to talk to me? You trying to start trouble? Or do you really not know where I got that name? It's a con name. You know, the great cons. That's what my parents were. I figured I grew up around the bastards. They owed me a name after all they put me through. They're dead. Got themselves killed at Bitter Springs. Served them right, if you ask me. It was a massacre. That's what a lot of NCR folk will tell you. Most of them feel plenty bad about what happened. But I was there. Saw it myself. I don't care what anybody says. The cons asked for Bitter Springs. They wouldn't leave the NCR be. My damn parents, too. They were just as bad as the rest. Don't I? Mister, you never met my parents. My dad, he got himself fucked up every chance he got. Always started with folk for no reason. Hell, he was the one who taught me to shoot. You know how? By taking pot shots at NCR, and not just soldiers. Civilians, too. Even kids. Then he'd get high with his buddies and swap tales about the folk they killed. Bunch of animals. And my mom? A couple of times she tried to sell me to some waster just to score some jet. Even the other cons said she was useless. Only reason they kept her around was because she was how'd my dad say it? A smoking piece of ass. Guess I could tell a pretty good story if I had a mind. But the truth is, I don't know. Just got lucky. They brought me to Daughtry after the battle. He was just a captain back then. Guess he saw something in me. Knew I didn't belong with the cons. Maybe he felt bad, too, about how his men killed my folks. I told him he did me a service, but he didn't believe me. Still doesn't. He's a good man, Daughtry. Doesn't act like it sometimes, I know. But he didn't have to take me in. It's like I tell Major Daughtry. Best not to look under a rock if you don't really want to know what's there. Could be that NCR found some blood on me and none of it mine. Could be that a few of those cons didn't die from NCR bullets. I had scores of my own to settle. deeper ones than NCR ever had. Don't bother asking who they were with. You're not fully grown till you've taken a beat down. Everybody gathers around and hits you till you're damn near dead. After that, if you haven't begged for mercy, you get to choose a new name. One you'll use for the rest of your life. When NCR slaughtered the cons at Bitter Springs, I hadn't got my beat down yet. I was still too young. The way I see it, Bitter Springs was my beat down. So afterward, I gave myself a name. It's all I got from the cons. It's all I ever want. Yeah, that's probably best. Guess not. I don't mean nothing by it. You really want to talk to somebody, try 10 of spades. He's always got plenty to say. Me, I'm here to do my job. For now, that job is shooting fiends. While, I guess. I don't keep too careful track of time. I like to keep things simple. Just focus on now. That's why they made me a sniper. You let your mind wander back a ways and you lose sight of what's in front of your eyes. Good way to miss a mark. Yeah, look, he's not my real father. He just looked after me for a while. It's a long story. I'd get tired of talking before it was through. It's like I told you, Daughtry's not my real father. He just looked after me for a while. All right, goodbye.
I see you're still alive, and that's promising. Any luck on that bounty? Adoptive father, yes. I was very proud when he made first Recon. I know that every time I send them out, I could be sending him to his death. But if it's not me, it'll be somebody else. At least this way I get one more chance to see him. Yeah, I was there. I was Captain Daughtry then. That whole situation was a mess and could easily have been avoided with good intel. The major in charge at the time made a bad call. He thought Bitter Springs was full of Great Con raiders, so we surrounded the place. By the time any of us realized there were civilians down there, women and children, shooting had already started. The major froze up at the news, and we couldn't get another word out of him. I took over and salvaged the situation as best I could. For my effort, I was promoted to major. Not quite the way I'd have wanted it. We know they supply the fiends with illegal chems, but they never stick around in NCR territory for long. They know the land and move quick. There's talk from time to time about taking out their base at Red Rock Canyon, but nothing ever comes of it. The Great Cons are tough fighters. If we ever did go up against them on their home turf, we'd win. The casualties would be high. Right.
Yeah? The lieutenant's been talking to you, hasn't he? Look, I don't need a head doctor. I'm first Recon, damn it. You don't see the others crying about every little bruise and scrape, do you? Yeah. Try not to get killed.
You remember me, right? The 10 of spades, first Recon. Oh, but because of what that fuck Cook did? Well, it's not the same thing, but Doc Kusanagi helped me with my stutter. The doc has a clinic north of here. Can't miss it. You should talk to Bitterroot, too. He's been to see the doc, too. No problem. Yeah, I'll see you around.
Howdy. What brings you back? It's a pride thing with her, and totally unnecessary. I mean, look at me. I was Ranger Sterling until the Legion got through with me. I was bitter, but if I kept my mouth shut, the NCR would have discharged me and sent me home. Instead, I asked if there was still a place for me. Had to prove I could still handle a gun alongside all the recruits. Look at me now. First Recon and still going strong. You tell Betsy that. Always a pleasure. Keep yourself safe.
Didn't think you'd be back. What's this about? Ten of Spades really ought to keep his mouth shut, but he's right. There are a lot of things in my past I just couldn't leave behind. It helped. A little. Well, more than a little. Betsy ought to pay a visit to Kusanagi since it can't hurt none. All right. Goodbye.
We won't go. What can I do for you? Carry on.
Yeah? Yeah? Damn. Never had you pegged for the drill instructor type, but you got my attention. You can tell the lieutenant that I finally caved. I'll get help. There's a Dr. Kusanagi who's supposed to be good at this sort of thing. This was none of their business. Or yours. You got no right to talk to people behind my back about this. Bitterroot actually said that? I can't see him talking about his problems to anybody, much less admitting that someone else actually helped him. I'm guessing the other two had similar things to say. All right, consider me convinced. I'll go see Kusanagi. You can tell the lieutenant that I caved, and thanks. Thanks for your help with Kusanagi and all, but I still like him tall, blonde, and female. Yeah, try not to get killed.
What's up? See you around. Got something good for me? Is it a dress?
welcome. Come on in. Welcome back. Sure thing. Have a look. Welcome back. Gonna get... Welcome back. Gonna... Sure thing. Have a look.
Ordinary guys with knives and bullets, and they're taking over Nevada. You can't help but notice that the Brotherhood barely exists to these people out here. We're like an urban myth, no real presence on the outside. We just don't adapt like we should. Used to be that all you needed to get your way was a suit of power armor and a laser rifle. Now, people are armed and organized. They're not afraid. But we still stick to our old approach because it's all we know. I think you're right. We're getting desperate. Hardly enough people to sustain ourselves as a chapter. They'll see the light, sooner or later. But I get the feeling if I don't take matters into my own hands, the change won't come in time to make a difference. See you around.
I've never seen a robot like that before.
There's a lot more troops here than we thought. No wonder we couldn't hold Helios 1. You know, I've been thinking. The real problem with the Brotherhood is that we isolate ourselves. Our training is top-notch, our technology gives us an advantage, but when it all comes down to it, we're losing because we shun the outside world. We always make enemies, never allies. We refuse to recruit outsiders or see the value in their simpler technologies. I don't know. I'm still thinking about what kind of role we could take on that would give us the best chance of survival. But I think things are starting to come together. I know the odds aren't good, but I gotta try. I can't lose them. See you around.
A little busy at the moment, but I can talk. This? The OSI lab. We don't get many visitors. The smell puts people off, I think. Nobody ever said science would smell clean and fresh. Anyway, you get used to it if you give it some time. I know I don't sound the part. Get raised by Brahmin ranchers and you never lose the twang. Drives Hildern crazy. But I know every inch of the power grid from Hoover Dam to Shady Sands. That's what we do here. Try to optimize the power output from the dam. Some of the others are working on an agricultural project, but truth be told, they aren't making much progress. Not yet, anyway. Head researcher. Mostly on the dam project, but I help out on other things when they need me. Gotta be flexible. You mean give you work? No, that'd be up to the administrator, Hildern. He's back there in his office. Between you and me, I don't think he ever leaves. Plenty of mercs go in to see him, though. I can't say. We're not supposed to talk about the research, not the details. If you're interested, I'm sure he'd see you. Nice to meet you. If you need anything, I'm almost always in the lab.
A pleasure to meet you. I'm Dr. Thomas Hildern, Director of Operations, OSI East. I presume you're here about Vault 22? From Alice. I'll see that she's paid right away. Crimson Caravan runs a tight operation. Even out here in the waste, wouldn't do to keep them waiting. Was there anything else? Or were you just here about the inputs? Wonderful. Straight to it then. Have you signed the release forms? No? Doesn't matter. We'll keep that to ourselves. Vault 22. Where to begin? Imagine, if you will, the wasteland in bloom. Vast fields of corn that grow from seeds and produce their bounty in the space of a month. Orchards of trees, their branches weighed halfway to the ground, hung with fat, ripe oranges, a harvest that could feed a city or a nation. And all this, requiring no more than a few drops of precious water, and the efforts of only a handful of human farmers. Impossible? Precisely. Science has proven that truth 1,000 times over. But how many wasteland savages believe it? Present company accepted, of course. The bounty I describe to you is no idle fantasy. It exists in primitive form only a few miles from where we stand. We need only reach out and unlock its secret. For that, the OSI needs you. Isn't it? One directs one's efforts, or the efforts of others, toward a goal, and progress is made. It's a matter of incentives, nothing more. I believe that the inhabitants of Vault 22 unlock the secrets of vegetative growth. Plants are spilling from their gate. No one tends them. No one waters them. Yet they multiply and spread in all directions. Find the reason for this miraculous growth, and I promise you the OSI will see that you are generously compensated. Good. No need to check in with the NCR authorities. I can authorize your payment from OSI accounts. Vaults typically contain a server room on a lower level, where they would have backed up their research data. A computer room, you understand? Download all the information on the central server to your Pip-Boy, and you'll be certain to bring me any notes or samples that you find, won't you? I thought it was a fairly straightforward assignment. It's a simple question of retrieving the data, which shouldn't prove overly challenging. Downloading the data will be handled by your Pip-Boy. You might think of yourself as a mere means of conveyance. No insult intended, of course. Oh? What might those be? The Office of Science and Industry. It's a rather expansive topic. I could talk for hours, but I'm sure I'd bore you. Suffice to say, we are the leading edge of the NCR. Our work focuses on practical matters: medicine, engineering, biology. The dam, for instance. OSI routes its energy supply to our cities in the West. That's only one responsibility of this office. Director of the entire OSI? Me? If I didn't know better, I'd say you were trying to plant seditious ideas in my head. No, I direct our eastern operations. I've been responsible for squeezing unprecedented levels of power from the dam. I'm also confronting the problem of food production in what little spare time I have, but I've found some promising leads. Yes, with the assistance of my team, of course. Not yet, but our government understands the value of proactive thought. Our studies project an imbalance between production and consumption. Or, for a layman such as yourself, not enough food, too many mouths to feed. Mass starvation in a decade or so. We aid some programs the Republic has sponsored involving sharecropper farms in the area. But those haven't panned out too well from what I hear. There have been complaints about the amount of water we're supplying. But those are just excuses for lack of diligence, I'm sure. Directly? No. But we attempt to maximize its output. You have no idea how difficult it is to provide power to an entire nation. Fortunately, we also have the Helios 1 facility. One of our external contractors recently got the station up and running. His name was something like exceptional or marvelous or... Yes, that was it. Exactly. Fortunate, his name was something like exceptional or marvelous or... I see. Of course you did. To be frank, I have no idea. I leave the fighting to Colonel Shu, and I expect him to leave the science to me. Too many people have opinions on things they know nothing about. And the more ignorant they are, the more opinions they have. Yes, goodbye.
Download complete. Begin recording. Navarro Outpost Scientist, I am glad that EDE has reached you. You will find several data banks of information on this machine. Please handle this information with the utmost care, as it represents the sum total of the results of my research on the Duraframe iBots. There are also several data banks with information on my research into Poseidon Energy and some projects they were working on in the Mojave area.
What's up? Even the stupid NCR is investing in new research. We're getting left in the dust. Hey, you got a second? The Brotherhood is failing. I've always known that. If we don't change course, we're going to fall apart, or fade away. But until recently, I haven't understood where we went wrong, or how to fix it. I think I need to go home. Great, thanks, thank you. I'll encourage people to name their non-ugly children after you. Seriously. What's up? See you around.
Did Dr. Hildern... This really isn't any of my business, but did he give you a job? I shouldn't say anything. I know that. But you're not the first person Hildern sent out to the vault. There were a lot of mercs, one after another. None of them came back. Then about a week ago, there was a scientist, Keeley. She's unusual. Not the sort of person you'd expect, but she's an absolute genius, and he didn't mention her? Not even her name? Or any of the other mercs? But now he's hired you, which means one of two things. Either he heard back from Keeley, and she failed, or he's given up on her. Listen, I make a fair wage, but I'm not rich. Not by any means. Maybe my kind of money wouldn't appeal to your average merc. But I'm willing to pay you if you'll find Keely and make sure she's safe. Isn't right leaving her out there. No idea if she's alive or dead. I had a good feeling about you. Moment you walked in. I mean it. Of course. Anything. Keely's brilliant. An absolute genius. She plays at being mean, but it's all a front. When you've lived as long as she has, you get defensive around new people. Who wants to make a friend when you know you'll outlive them? I couldn't get her to say, but she talked about the war. The Great War, when the bombs fell, like she'd been there. So I'm guessing pretty old. 200 years? Maybe more. Like a Brahmin and a Deathclaw, though I'm not sure which would be which. Bad analogy, maybe. They're both Deathclaws in their way. Keely hates Hildern. She says he's more politician than scientist, and gets in the way of true discovery. And Hildern hates Keely because, well, because every time they meet, she makes him look like an ass. In front of important people, usually. Head researcher. Mostly on the dam project, but I help out on other things when they need me. Gotta be flexible. The director? He's very well-spoken and knowledgeable. He's not what you'd call warm, unless he wants something from you. And even then, it's kind of a cold warm. Most of the time, I focus on the science and try to forget him. He doesn't get mixed up in any actual work, though he tells people that he does. He sure does. Everyone knows it. I've just got to endure this job until the project is finished. But abandoning Keely, he crossed a line. Taking credit for other people's work is one thing. Sending people to die in the waste is another. If Hildern tries to recruit any more mercs, I'm gonna warn them. What can he do to me? I'm the only one who can run this lab. My father used to say good things about them, but that was years ago. Back when they teach farmers and ranchers about crop rotation and the like. Nowadays, they've changed. They're doing what they can to discredit the NCR, give us a bad name with the locals. Dr. Hildern trained with them years ago. Not me, though. I'm an OSI girl. It's foul to tell the truth. Most people try to get what they can from the outside, even if it's just a smuggled candy bar now and then. Contreras is a genius. He can find almost anything you'd want. Takes caps to get him motivated, though. He won't do a thing for free. Right. Stay safe.
Yes? Something else you needed? I never said you were. You've been speaking to Williams, haven't you? Fair enough. Begging your pardon, but this is beginning to feel like an interrogation. No, you aren't the first person I've sent to the vault. I'm sorry that I neglected to tell you, but I don't see how it makes any difference. I'd have to consult my records. 8, 10. Your point is what? I have no evidence that they're dead. 1,000 things could have happened between here and the vault. They could have changed their minds and walked away. I wouldn't be much of a scientist if I leapt to conclusions without proof. All right. I'll admit that it's been difficult to find anyone willing to enter the vault. And I'd rather get the data sooner than later. You have a deal. I'll double your reward if you bring me the data. But this is as high as my budget will allow. Now, I know your time is valuable, so I won't waste any more of it. Feel free to show yourself out. Yes? Something else you needed? Yes? Something. Williams is an admirable researcher. If she wasn't, I'd have terminated her contract, and she'd be begging for work from my former employers. Williams has a tendency to feel before she thinks. Not in the lab, but everywhere else. That might be forgivable if she kept her concerns to herself, but she doesn't. Not in front of her peers, not even with contractors like yourself. That kind of behavior can undermine morale. She convinced my last contractor to quit. Same way she tried with you. Probably didn't tell you that, did she? No. The OSI hasn't been around for very long. I received my training elsewhere. Before the bombs, I might have studied at any number of colleges, universities. They gave a man a chance to advance himself, or so I've heard. But after the bombs, until a few years ago, anyone with half a brain had one choice: the followers of the apocalypse. Didn't matter if you agreed with them or not. You either played along or you were turned away. Knowledge for knowledge's sake, a society of equals. They purport to be intelligent people, and then they spout this old-world dogma. Exactly right. Imagine what the followers could have accomplished if they were properly motivated, if they had a unified purpose. Those of us who founded the OSI, we wanted to put our knowledge to work, and we have to some degree. But the execs at OSI Central, they're still bound to the old ideas, society of equals and all that. There's still too little direction. If I can make real breakthroughs here, show the President what can be done when junior researchers are kept in line, kept focused on task. Who knows? Maybe I'll be sitting in OSI Central in a few years' time, and there'll be no more coddling of free spirits like our friend Williams. Yes, goodbye.